Okay, hello. Today is lamp on a table or lamp on a surface. And what I did is I drew up two fast compositional studies um, inside of elongated rectangles. So it should be basically roughly the same smaller version of our big paper. And focusing in on my lamp. This one I feel is too dead center and too kind of static because it's the same amount of space on each side. I prefer this one where the object is pushed over and there's some drama with the light because there's quite a bit of light happening, and I've got some wood pattern I'm going to try to bring in today. Alright, so this is our still life. We have a small checkered lampshade on an old lamp that I've had for years, and I just found a piece of wood surface so that it could be interesting on my dresser. Alright, let's get started. We're going to blow this one up. Alright, so let's do our contour study. So we're going to try to redo that one. It may be a little bit different by the time we get larger because I'm not going to grid it and measure it out. You can actually take your drawing, grid it, and blow it up. And we'll do that in drawing 2 as one of our assignments, just so that we can get to know how to grid. But I don't really want to. I just want to freehand it. I have this interesting fold because I threw a piece of canvas behind my still life to give me an interesting backdrop, kind of simple and plain. And I think it's here, and I like that fold, so I didn't fix it. I left it on the wall. So I think that's about it. So I think my plane line is about here, but I want to put it in lightly and then go back and figure it out. The core of my vase is a round little pot form. I think I want it a little further out here. So I think that's it. But again, I'm a gesture drawer. I'm real messy. At first you're going to be like, what is she doing? I forgot to put the center line, so I'm going to put the center line in my circle now. My base should be somewhere here, which should be another circle. The base is roughly the same width as this. It doesn't really go out, so I'm a little short. If this is a good circle for the body of the lamp, then my base is a little short. So let's go back and make it a little fatter. I think that's good. Okay. And now I have to find, before I do any more to this base, I'm going to find where my lampshade comes in. So my lampshade is not dead center. It's angled a little this way. It's a stop sign shape. And I'm going to try to figure out where it belongs. And I think it belongs here, here. These all go up. And if it were taller, they'd be almost like, truncated rectangles, because they would come to a point up there. And now the angle is what I'm concerned with. I'm going to put this in. This is very much like putting a kind of a cube on top of a circle. So I'm concerned with that. I see this side as going off into space at an angle, but I do not see that side because it's more blunted than the angle I'm standing at. So this just comes down. I got to step back and look and see if that's good. Actually happy with that. Maybe not this. This might be a little too harsh. Let me try checking that. And that may be more like that. Again, let's go back. Alright, I like that. So far that's good. So clean that up. Just a little bit. Now I'm happy with how that intersects with the vase because it covers up the whole light source, which is right in here. It's really bright, but you only see it through the check. We'll go back for the check after. So now we have to figure out where the actual base of the lamp is happening. So we need to kill that. This is going to come down like this a little. We're going to act like we're drawing through the lampshade because it's the best way for me to see it. And then I'll go back and erase that anyway because it's going to become part of the checkered ground. that happens in the pattern. Good, I like that. And there's a nice roundness on it here. Check my roundness. Make sure I'm going to be good and round there. Yes, good and round here. Good, good. And now you cut in. The base has to come in like something like, because it's a little pot shape. So you want to come in like that, like it's got a hip. You want to come in again. Make sure my angles are roughly the same. Not bad, maybe a little crooked. This one might be a little lower than that one. So which one do I like? I like this one, so I'm going to make this one a little lower. That's better. Let's check that again. Okay. Okay. Is that good? It's pretty good. Alright, now let's find the bottom where the white of the lamp stops. It's kind of like this. Yeah. Kind of round it a little bit. It's good. And now the base, that becomes the gold bottom of the lamp. Mine's a little narrower, so I need to go a little fatter with it. And it's kind of doing, it's going to be narrow, more narrow on this side because it's coming around. It's going to fatten out there. It's going to come this way. It's going to fatten out here. How's that? Let's check it. Not right, quite right yet. Let's get this out of here because it's getting a little confusing. I've got so much dark. It's probably hard for you to see. It's hard for me to see what I've got here. I think this has to cut in a little more. Let me step back and see. That's pretty good. Alright. Now, for the elements that's happening, the vase is pretty good. I want to erase this out. Erase this out. All this was just to make my shape work. Okay. And I want it to nicely disappear there. I'm going to leave this one here because that's the extreme light dark break I have. I have extreme bright here, darker down here, some bounced light just like we did with the egg, some more bounced light, so I'm going to leave that. There is a circle of absolute beautiful kind of, why when the light's on it, well yes, because this object is casting a shadow. So there is a shadow that hubs right around this object like that. There is the plug in, the wire cord, comes off, kind of does this interesting little dippy thing, goes across the space. I left it there, I kind of like it. But actually it doesn't do that. I did it wrong. It actually goes, if my space that I've got is correct, the light cord comes up here, because it comes up from behind here, it gets plugged in behind the still life, and then it comes over here. So that's even better. I like that. Kind of moves through the space nicely. And then this comes through here. As I said, I left that fold of fabric because it's kind of beautiful. There's some elements going on here that create a nice light dark, so I'm going to leave that because I like that play. We're going to take this circle out of here, and we're going to step back and make sure our triangular top is correct. Our shade is pretty good. Might be a little off, but I'm going to keep it. Alright, and now we're going to bring in a pattern. This has a pattern, so we're going to bring it in now instead of later. It's a simple check pattern, and it does not follow the shape. It's kind of glued over. So the center is here, and we're just going to suggest the pattern like that. good. Now this one's going to be a little wider here, and I'm going to try for slightly narrower for the pattern, just to suggest a little bit of the perspective going on there. And then this one will have a much narrowing of the pattern. No, I did it wrong. My angle was off. My nice point there. Kind of gonna go like that, because it's on, you're seeing it at an angle, and I'm happier with that. Almost. Not quite. I did that. I messed that up. I'm losing my vine. I need a new piece of vine. And I don't have one here. Let me grab another piece of vine. I thought I had enough, and it wore out as I was drawing. Okay. There we are. I think this is a firmer vine, but that's okay. It'll be alright. Let's try that again. I didn't care for that. It didn't work. Try to stay out of your way, but I've got to see. That's my point. That's my point. That's my point. There, my line, if it's cracked, then I have to, let's fix this. Let's go down here like that. We're going to go tight, tight, a little looser, a little looser, a little looser, a little looser. That's better. All right. Now we have a check happening, so we have to go this way with the check. And I'm just freehanding these. Probably not perfect lines, that's okay. Later on, when we shade, I can get my straight edge. That helps me with that, to keep those pretty straight when I shade it. And I can always move them if they're blaringly bad. No, this one is the same. It's going to go uphill. So again, it's going to follow, just like with the cube, it's going to follow the direction of its original base. If they were not a pattern that was just glued on, you may end up having to angle every line, but really the lamp does not do that, so I'm not going to worry about it. Alright, so that's pretty good. There is some element of the background that I purposely left there because it has a nice kind of wrinkly quality at an angle right here. There's a little bit of a wrinkle that creates a nice light source to kind of activate the background. There's a very bright light that hubs, and then the light is going to bounce out of the lampshade, and it creates an absolute diamond of light right there. So everything out here is darker. This is darker. You don't see it over here, but it really should be about here possibly. Okay. And there's some nice darks here. There's a nice play of dark right like this. It kind of echoed. That's why I left that fold of canvas, because you had a square lampshade and a beautiful half round circle of light and dark right here, and I thought that was kind of a beautiful interlock of a square and a circle, so I left it. That's one of the reasons why I left it. Okay. Alright, timekeeper, how much time do I have? I'm gonna go right into shading.
14.
Okay, I'm gonna do a little bit of shading. And then, because I'm not sure if this video is going to end up being an hour and a half. Alright, we haven't used it yet, but you have a Conte crayon in your kit. Mine is bigger than yours, but you have a kit of, I think, 4 colors. You have black, probably sepia, gray, and white. We're primarily going to use the black and white. We will use the sepia in drawing 2, so keep it. And they're cheaper to get the full when we were ordering. So I'm going to take, this is the Conti. The Conti is not it is not a charcoal. It is not made of charcoalized hardwoods. It is actually pigment, like a pastel is, or a paint. And it's a different medium. And you'll see that it's a jet black, and it behaves differently. It doesn't bleed the same way. And it can be worked very well with your pencil, which is in my hair right now. And that way, you can, if you need a dark, this will come in, and I'll probably use it in this drawing to get this nice, narrow, dark cord in, and it won't bleed. It does smudge, but it will not bleed. See, like that charcoal does. So if you ever need a nice dark black anywhere in the drawings, that's a good one to bring in. Alright, I'm going to go in now with my charcoal and just quickly shade and not do any rubbing and try to just lay in my darks. So I'm going to lay this in. Remember I said there's a brilliant light right here, but there is a dark that happens right here. Then it comes again off of that, almost glows like the egg did. And you get a nice dark, and you get a nice, this needs to absolutely glow when we're done. So we're going to work on that. We're going to bring this whole vase in slightly darker. The light source now is in the composition itself. It's not outside the composition. So it's above here. So technically this is our light source. So everything's going to be controlled by that light source. But I do have a window over here on this side of the drawing. So I'm getting a little bit of mixed light. And I do have a darker element on this side. So we're going to bring that in. Then we have a nice dark element here. We have a beautiful dark right there. And then shade it here. And then we have this nice dark. And a dark here. And a dark here. Oh, and I did forget. We are going to try to bring in, I purposely put some wood pattern. So right here we have some of the wood pattern comes out beautifully, kind of like at an angle like that, and it fades out, and it actually does this, and it moves and it angles, and it's very narrow at the top, wider here, and it fades out. And we're going to bring that into our shading. And it happens on this side, it's more of the extension of that, so it's more of a linear. It's not even a flat linear pattern, because it's wood, it's a wavier linear pattern. When we do our help sessions in class, remind me that I'm going to teach you to do a frontage.
10 minutes.
Okay. A frontage is a rubbing, and when we get to draw in class before this whole pandemic thing, we would do a lot of times we would do wood grain on purpose so that we could go outside on the benches and pull a beautiful rubbing. And how does one use a rubbing into a drawing? And it can be done, and it can be handled quite beautifully. Max Ernst is the artist you would look at who does a lot of work where he did rubbings. And he's a surrealist and a contemporary. He was a modernist artist, and he also fell under the surrealist for a while. Okay, so this is all subtle, but there. This is again. Remember we talked about it's got a cast shadow, and again we've got to put in that. We're going to bring in that suggested wood grain. This is going to come around here. We got a suggested wood grain inside of our pattern of shadow. Okay. I'm going to do this really quickly so I can get back. Probably won't even make it to this, but I'll try. Okay. Because this will make the next drawing go faster. Remember, this is the brightest bright, so we're probably going to kill some of that. And this out here was darker, because that's our triangle of dark. that this creates that wonderful triangle. And this is darker here. Anything else? These are some really subtle shadows here, which we'll play with when we get to shading that. Probably start with that. I like to start with my backgrounds like a painter and then build up top. And now let's see if we can do this quickly. It is not a black-white pattern. It is more of a pattern that, and I'm going to see if I have a new charcoal. I do in my pocket. It's not a black-white check. It is a pattern that kind of is created by an overlap. So we're going to try doing this, if this will work. And then this comes down like this. This is going to be interesting to play with once we start shading. And then this is much darker because it's how the shade is put together, so it's not accepting light the same way. Okay, let's try this one more time. If I can do it. There we are. Black. Okay, this is what we're going to do so far for the fast shading in, and we're going to now we're going to cut, and we're going to come back and we'll play with this and